Steve, you wanted to make the nation smile on Thursday night. I think it's mission accomplished. I just wonder if you've had time to reflect and enjoy that result.
I thought you were going to ask if I'd had time to smile myself. Not really, to be honest. Straight after the game, my thoughts immediately turned to Slovakia match. Permutations for the team. Obviously 3 games in a very short space of time, so might need to be a little bit creative with selection and make sure that we get the best out of all the players that are here. So that was my immediate thought after the excitement and the happiness at winning the penalty shootout.
And having had time to gather your thoughts, I mean, is that the most significant result you've had as a manager? How would you assess just what you and the team achieved there on Thursday night?
Oh, what we achieved is straightforward. We given ourselves a chance in a one-off game away to Serbia to qualify for Euro 2020, and realistically, since last November, that's been the target and the aim. So we've managed to take the first step, but there's another step to come.
What do you feel? Do you feel relief? Do you feel pride? What's your predominant emotion?
Just like a football manager ready for the next game. When you're involved in football, is game to game. So I know it's probably an old cliche and it sounds terrible, but I have to move on to the next match. The next match is the most important. Slovakia, a chance to get 3 points and stay at the top of the group.
Is it fair to say the next big match though is Serbia, and all roads are leading to Belgrade? These next 2 matches have you already got Serbia in the back of your mind?
No, I've got Slovakia in the back of my mind, and then on the back of that I'll have Czech Republic. So I know you guys can look as far ahead as you want, but my job is to stay in the here and now and be ready for the next match, and then after that the Czech Republic match on Wednesday night.
Talk about the guys that you've brought into the squad: Andy Considine, Paul McGinn, Ross McCrory.
Yeah, I don't know. Has Ross been announced?
No, officially, but
I think I might have just done it. Sorry.
You've just announced Ross McCrory yourself, then. Yeah, well, I'll deal with Ross first. Obviously, played last night for the under-21s, but I'd already sort of preempted the fact that he would come through that game okay, which he did. Obviously, a great result for the boys. Ross scored himself, so he's come to join the squad. He's in a good place. He's a versatile player. I know he's done very well for Derek in Aberdeen in central midfield. He can also play at the back. He can also play right back. So he's got a number of positions, which gives us good cover. Andy Considine is Mr. Steady. Had a great career, great club career at Aberdeen. One club man, doesn't happen very often. I think in my time at Kilmarnock, we were involved in 10 games against Aberdeen. So I got to see him up close and personal. 7 out of 10 every game he plays. Steady away. So although he hasn't been involved at international level before, he has the experience to be able to handle the situation. And Paul McGinn, obviously it's a position where we are a little bit light in numbers at the moment. We've got a couple of good young ones coming through, but not quite ready for it yet. Paul's another one who's done the hard yards, came from Queen's Park, I believe, and worked his way up, had a number of clubs. He's probably having the best season of his career so far at Hibs. I spoke to Jack Ross about him. Jack was very, very praiseworthy of Paul, and he deserves his chance in the squad.
2 sets of brothers in the same Scotland squad, that can't have happened often or ever, I'm not sure.
I wouldn't think so. I'd need to ask the historian or somebody with better knowledge of that than me. For me, it's 4 good players, and that's important.
And given you played 120 minutes, then went through penalties the other night, is it in your mind your intention to make many changes for tomorrow night to rotate? Yeah, we have to freshen the team a little bit, but I don't want to freshen it so much that we sort of lose track or focus on the good things that have happened in the last few games. I mean, there's 6 games unbeaten now, and we want to continue that unbeaten run. So if I have to make some changes, yeah, I'll do it, but maybe not too many. And the solidity you showed the other night, are you set in your mind that the back 3 is working for you as the way to go for the next few matches?
Well, I think you have to look at every game individually. You have to decide what the opposition do, and you have to decide whether a back 3 or a back 5 or a back 4, however you want to dress it up, is the best way to go. And I do that no matter who we're playing. I always look at it and decide on the best formation and the best way to play.
In Slovakia tomorrow, how difficult a game is that off the back of maybe the euphoria you've just had, just getting everyone back down to earth and getting back to the football?
Every international game is difficult. Slovakia, good team, good players. Like ourselves, missing one or two players that might have been starters for them. They also came through 120 minutes in a penalty shootout the other night. So maybe they'll make one or two changes. I believe they've just lost another player today to COVID. So that's an ongoing situation, I think, for every country, and something that everybody's got to deal with. But I expect a strong Slovakian team in a tough game.
The COVID thing, I was going to mention it to you. The Slovaks have been hit, the Czechs as well, Scotland obviously. Is international football, is this Nations League anyway, worth it at the minute with all the problems that we've got globally?
Yeah, I think it's worth it. The Nations League for Scotland is, we've just proven by that game on Thursday night how valuable the Nations League has been. It's given us a second opportunity to qualify for Euro 2020. The current set of Nations League fixtures will give up, I believe, 3 extra places for the World Cup in Qatar 2022. So it's a valuable tournament when you think of it that way. And I think it would be very, very unfair to isolate international football and say the problem with COVID's in international football. It's not. The problem with COVID is throughout the world, every industry. Club football, international football, amateur football, every industry you can name. Everyone's affected by it. It's a global pandemic.
Is there a danger that the credibility of it though is damaged a bit, Steve? If too many players are lost, you've just looked at the Czechs for a midweek, they could have a substantial number missing.
Yeah, they could do, but the team they played last month against us was a decent team. There'll always be opportunities for other people to step in, so I don't think it's so much about the credibility. You could start to level that at club football if they start to lose 2 or 3 players every week for whatever reason as well. So no, I don't think that's... You either go with the games or you don't go with the games. And if you go with the games, then you can't start to question credibility.
After having been affected yourself by it in this round of fixtures, have you started now to have plan A, plan B, plan C for each game in case something does crop up? Are you more aware of it now, perhaps?
I think you're always aware of it. Human nature tends to think that the problem will always happen to someone else, but we've had first hand how difficult it can be. As well as the injury issue, we lost 3 through injury, and we lost another 3 through the COVID-related issue. But that's going to happen to every team in the future, and you have to be ready. You have to think on your feet. You have to be ready to deal with whatever life throws at you at the moment.
You said you have to be creative with your selection for these games. How mindful of the fact are you that you can't go ask your players to go to the well for each game with the workload they're having in a short space of time, and then obviously their club commitments?
Yeah, will depend on the individual nature of the players. Some players can handle 3 games in a week. You can't tell me that the players who play for the big clubs don't play 3 games in a week, because they do. So that's not. I don't think that's a big issue. If you play with one of the top sides, you're playing over 60 games a season. Quite often in the season there'll be a run of games where you have to play Saturday midweek, Saturday midweek, Saturday midweek. These boys are used to it.
Will club managers see it that way, do you think, if you ask players to play? No,
listen, I understand from the club manager's point of view as well. They're going to look at it from their own selfish attitude, because that's what I would do if I was a club manager. And all we do is we treat all the players the same, and we treat every player with as much concern as we can to make sure they go back to their clubs in a good state.
Steve, have you made any changes to protocol or arrangements since the COVID situation here?
Our protocol has always been top class. The Dr. John McLean's been involved in the whole COVID process from the very start. Himself and Graham Jones put down the protocols, and I think the fact that we all tested negative today is a really good sign.
It's just a matter of keeping your fingers crossed that more doesn't arise then.
Listen, you can walk out in the street and catch the cold, and coronavirus is very similar to the common cold, so it's a virus that's out there, it's easily spread. I don't think to be pointing fingers at protocol and whatever is probably the right way to go.
I think having the final ahead now is giving players who are outside your squad something to try and aim for as well. When you've got guys like Lee Griffiths scoring again, Stephen Naismith talked about his desire to get back into his squad. Is there chances for these guys to impress you over the next month? Before we get to that group of players, I think the group of players that are here just now have got a chance in the next 2 games to make themselves almost undroppable. So that's the first point on that one. For the rest, it is looking ahead to next month.
all the players who are not in the squad this time have to do everything they can in their power to make sure that they're fit, well, playing as well as they can to make my selection process as hard as possible. So there's an incentive for them as well.
Steve, has anyone been in touch with the boys who couldn't make it for the game because of the COVID problem? Armstrong, Tierney, Christie, were you able to speak to them? And
I haven't spoken to them since they left the camp, but they're aware of the fact that we got the result they wanted, and hopefully they're all fine, and we'll see them next month.
I saw the First Minister tweeting never a doubt, I think she said. Have you had any reaction from other people, managers, even fans to what you achieved on Thursday night?
Yeah, I got one or two text and WhatsApp messages from people that maybe were a little bit haven't seen for a long time, if you like. Maybe a few more messages than normal after a game, so that was nice. But like I said, that's in the past. The playoff games in the future, and Slovakia tomorrow is the here and now.